Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and today we're going to talk about flams, drags, and ruffs. So there's a specific way to play these things that I teach my students, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is the third part of my basic hand technique video series. Flams and drags and ruffs are extremely important for many things. If you play any kind of orchestral music, if you play drum set, they're used all the time, obviously. And really, you need to have control over these grace notes, which is what they are. Every instrument has grace notes. So in a flam, it's one grace note before the main note. In a drag, it's two grace notes before the main note. In a ruff, it can be up to 7 grace notes, but normally it's a 4-stroke ruff, which is 3 grace notes before the hit. Now, it's really important to be ambidextrous when you can play these things. So in other words, they need to be approached from either hand. That's very, very important. So let's talk first about flam concept, because that's going to basically be the concept for your drags as well. So think of a flam like a seesaw, where one end is going down while the other's going up. Okay, and the weight of those people create that. So you're just thinking that. That's the vision that you have in your head. So one stick should be down, and then one stick is up. Now the stick it hits second, the primary note, the big note, that's the flam it is. So if I start with my left hand, that's a right flam. If I start with my right hand, that's a left flam. That's traditionally the way those things are notated. And if you work on books like Nard or Wilcoxon or Pratt or anything, that's the way that's going to be notated in there. So your starting position will be with the left hand about an inch or two above the drum. In this case, we're doing a right flam. And then the right hand anywhere from 8 inches to 12 inches above the drum. And if we just drop those at the same time, because gravity on this planet anyway, you get a flam, because one is lower, so it's going to hit first, and the one that's higher is going to hit later. Now, after you do the first one, you want to switch. So that left hand then comes up, and then you do the left flam. So this is a right flam, and this is a left flam. Now, part of playing a flam correctly and relaxed is to not have all your fingers on the stick, especially if you're playing traditional, and doing this. You need to let that stick bounce. And you'll see that the fingers disconnect for a split second from that left hand for the traditional grip. But the thumb remains locked over the stick. Not the hitchhiker's thumb like we talked about in the previous videos, but over, touching that first finger. But for a second there, it comes off, right at the end. See it? That's a rudiment called the flam accent. So I'm going to play this for a minute slowly, and I just want you to watch it. I'll try to find the best camera view of this, or give you a few when I edit it down. So I was trying to really open up the flams here pretty wide, all right? So hopefully you can see all that movement between my fingers. What you don't want to do is this, with a stiff wrist, all right? Because you can never play fast that way. And all those flam rudiments, all rely on using your fingers and bouncing rather than just a stiff wrist. Now on the right hand, for match grip, you want to do the same thing. You want there to be a space there, and you want to use your fingers and the bouncing. Now practicing on a pad like this is really good because it doesn't lie. It's like a microscope. So when you play on a snare drum, it hides a little bit more. But on a pad, every little flam that might be a little flat or whatever is going to come out. So it's really good to practice on one of these pads with a real head. That's how I do a lot of my practicing, just to make sure I can hear everything really clearly. All right, so you're going to want to do that. So the flam rudiments that you should be concerned with are basically the main ones: flam tap, flam accent, flam paradiddles, flam paradiddle diddles, that's a hard one, and that uses a little more wrist. So go to the main rudiments there, the original 26 rudiments, and just look at the grouping, and I'll put them here on the screen so you can see them, and you need to work on these all separately, and then eventually put them in pieces, again, with like the Nord or the Wilcoxon or the Pratt or anything else, anything modern. Really, this Rudimental Cookbook is a good one. All these different rudimental books that you can use to do this. So that's pretty much the flam concept as it builds from this to all those flam rudiments. You're always keeping that picture in mind. In other words, when I do flam accents and I just do flams first, that picture never changes what my hands are doing. Okay, it always stays the same, and that's important. And again, always relax your shoulders, do the reset like we talked about in the previous two videos. Make sure you're relaxed and bouncing, doing all the proper things. No bad habits, please. Now, drags are very, very similar, but instead of one note now, we're two notes. But whatever note hits last, that's what drag it is. So this is a left drag, and this is a right drag. Now, different than flams, or maybe you could think similar, but it's definitely going to be a little bit different here because there's different ways to interpret drags, even more so than flams. You can play an open flam as you would if you're playing, you know, sort of Afro-Cuban music like on timbales. All right, but you can also play a closed flam, and you can even play a flat flam. That's both hands together at the same time. But a drag has a little more subtlety there. So when you're playing in orchestra, there's two ways to think about this for auditions or whatever, and there's no set rule. So in the old days, people would play these closed, like a buzz. But then starting maybe around the 1990s, audition committees were more asking for the open drag. And that's a military drag. So there's two ways to think about it. The classical drag is closed with a buzz, and the military drag is open. So when you're playing a military piece, like Prokofiev's Lieutenant Kiji, you want to do those open. All right? As opposed to, although a conductor might ask you to play it one way or the other. So we're getting a little off topic here, but that's important to realize that there's different ways of interpreting these particular stickings. So back to the basics here. So that drag, you want to start practicing them open. So just like the flams, and that's a great exercise to do. Just 4 flams, and then 4 drags. 4 flams, 4 drags. Okay, same seesaw motion. And when you play them closed, you're pushing into the head and then getting off the head. Similar to a buzz roll, where you're pushing into the head. So for the drag rudiments, you want to do the same thing. You want to go through that grouping. So we have the single drag, just the drag itself. Then we have drag taps, and the double drag tap. These are used a lot in 6/8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Wilcoxon used them so effectively. Roughing the single drag is a great one. I have all those recorded on my channel if you want to check out those particular etudes. But that uses all kinds of open drags, all right? And for a jazz drummer, it's a huge part of the arsenal there are the drags. Philly Joe Jones, Roy Haynes, you name it. They all played. Max Roach, tons of drags all over the place. So it's important to master that. All right, but the same motion as a flam. Now, ruffs are different. So there's lots of ways to stick a 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 stroke ruff. Normally, if it's more than 4 strokes, you're going to do double strokes like this. Like a quick 5-stroke roll. But when they're a 4-stroke ruff, in other words, 3 grace notes and a hit, you have options. So normally those will be singled, so right, left, or left, right. It should not be like an open triplet like this. Those grace notes should be fast. So what I'm doing there is I'm using my fingers and a clinch with the left hand, traditional. If I play matched, I'm using my fingers there, see? Do not do this. Okay, that's not going to work. It's not fast enough, and the grace notes end up being too loud. You want to do this. All right? So that's the first sticking. And you should be able to do both stickings, right, left, and then left, right. That's starting with the left. And that's a lot harder, so coordination-wise. Then we can get into some other stickings. The one I really like is right, left, or left, right. So the right, left, right looks like this. So you can really squeeze it in there. And when I used to do orchestra auditions, that's the sticking I always used for my really soft 4-stroke ruffs. It's a really great, dependable sticking. And normally I start that with the right, left, right. You can do it the other way if you want. Another sticking that works well is left, right. That's a strange sticking. But if you have a lot of single notes and then a ruff, it works great. Because you can really, get them in there. Some of those passages are really difficult to play on snare drum, where you have really squeezed ruffs in between 8th notes or 16th notes going. So I one hand those 16th notes and I play the ruffs left, right. So. Which puts me on my strong hand, my right hand. There's no rough rudiments as far as the drag rudiments, but what I suggest practicing is just doing them over and over again like this. And just building them into little rhythms. I do have some exercises in my 3 camps book. One is just ruffs, so over and over again, and you can look that up here on YouTube. That's a tough one. And then also I have some exercises in the back with the hand exercises that are like this. Where I'm squeezing those as single stroke 4s is what they become. All right, and once again, I am using my fingers and trapping the stick. So I hope this helps with your questions. I've gotten lots of them about these three grace notes: flam, strags, and ruffs. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.